We got ourselves another Tuesday news day. We're going to jump into some information on Drazhoath the Ashen, the next legendary lord to talk about in the new Chaos Dwarf DLC coming to Total War Warhammer 3. In my usual fashion of upfronting the knowledge in this video, what we're quickly going to do is go over Drazhoath at a very high level. There's not even that much data about him in this blog. We're going to talk about the Infernal Guard and their three variants, the Great Weapon, the Axe and Shield combo, and the Fire Glaive. And then we'll also talk about the Kadai, both the Destroyers and the Fireborn. That's all we'll be talking about today. Not a ton of reveal. Also ULRIKA, the FLC character, which will be available to both the Empire and Kislev. That is all that is in this blog here today, and that's all you wanted to know. Feel free to go ahead and shut the video down. That's pretty much, there's nothing terribly new and exciting to be told here. It's just a lot of kind of like, oh, that's cool. So that's how they're going to do the Infernal Guard. It's stuff like that. Tomorrow, this will be going live, but I'm recording this the day before. CA gave this ahead of time to us. But the day after or so, I'll be getting up a Chaos Dwarf roster from the Tamarcon book and just kind of speculating off of that and using the unit cards. So be on the lookout for that on the channel. Also, if you have not yet picked up the DLC, you can use my link to Creative Assembly's affiliate site to help support the channel. You will get a Steam key that you then would redeem online, and it is a great way to, again, support the channel. Lastly, check me out on Twitch. You can find the link in the description and the pinned comment, where I will be streaming this DLC when it goes live, as well as doing DLC giveaways leading up to the launch. But we'll be live by the time this goes live. But let's dive into some fun information here on Drazhoath the Ashen. And again, nothing terribly crazy out of field here. We just kind of get the fact that Drazhoath will be starting in the Black Fortress, is the Lord of the Black Fortress and the commander of the Fell Legion of Asgore. And he, as far as the lore is concerned, Drazhoath Iron Hand, exiled Drazhoath out to the Black Fortress, where he kind of grew his own army. And he is definitely more of a hybrid character, as we can see here, being equally as proficient with his axe as with sorcery. Drazhoath is a formidable presence on the battlefield, be he on foot or atop his trusty Baal Taurus Cinderbreath. So not a great Baal Taurus, just a Baal Taurus. He's equally as daunting outside battle too, being an industrial juggernaut and the best in class when it comes to generating armaments and developing settlements. So we'll have to kind of see overall how that mechanic works to speculate on what his mechanics would look like from a campaign perspective. But I would expect him to kind of have something like 120 armor, probably around, if he's on foot, I'm assuming he's on foot, it's harder to make a speculation about what he would be like mounted, because we don't know what the stats are like of a Baal Taurus necessarily. I guess, no, we do. We saw from the thing, the last gameplay thing. But either way, probably a decent amount of melee attack and defense, nothing crazy, and probably like, just shy of 500 weapon strength, perhaps AP. I don't think any kind of anti-large or anti-infantry attached to him, but I would expect him to be, since he is a sorcerer prophet of Hashut, to have the lore of Hashut in a pure form. We know with Drazhoath, we get a dual kit, right? Or a custom kit. So I expect him to be our pure Hashut caster as far as legendary lords go. And narrative-wise, this kind of goes over what the narrative of what the campaign is like. And basically what this is telling us is that the narrative is to the Chaos Dwarfs are in search of one thing, the blood of Hashut. And to acquire it, the Chaos Dwarfs must build the great drill of Hashut. The Chaos Dwarfs must collect and corrupt 4 dwarfen artifacts. They intend to bind these demons to them, or they intend to bind these to demons, forging them into components required for the construction of the hellish drill. Once complete, they intend to dig into the fabric of reality and breach Hashut's domain. So you see, that is what shall be of the Chaos Dwarfs. Again, nothing crazy here. There's nothing like this is going to really give us a ton of information. It just kind of lays the ground for what will be the campaign of the Chaos Dwarfs. Now we also get the Hell Forge. Now while powerful, there are limits on the number of available Chaos Dwarfs and other units beyond the laborers at any one time. This cap can be raised through the further spending of armaments to craft additional weapons and armor in the Hell Forge. As the unit caps grow, so too does the Hellsmith's proficiency, unlocking further upgrades. When the Chaos Dwarfs can't build their new units wide, they most certainly build them tall. So it'll be interesting to see what that kind of upgrade system looks like, if it's a kind of retooled scrap mechanic like we've seen with the dwarfs, if it's something in the lines of say, oh man, what's his name, the Bronze Bull from the Beastman, how he has a whole upgrade mechanic, or if it'll be something kind of like Clan Mulder, where he's kind of, you're going up a set projection or set kind of like talent range of upgrading them. Again, I'm not really sure what this really entails, but excited to see more. I didn't even think we saw anything on the Hellforge in that campaign kind of gloss over. So maybe this is kind of talking about a thinner mechanic and not so robust of a mechanic, where we would get like a set UI piece that allows us to kind of push through it and so on and so forth. So very curious to see what that Hellforge kind of looks like in actuality, or maybe this is a Hellforge only attached to Drazhoath. So we'll take a look at that. Now we have the Infernal Guard, which are the elite, right? So we have Chaos Warriors, we have Infernal Guard, and then there are the Immortal Iron Guards, or whatever the hell. Basically the dudes with like cool masks on. And we saw these dudes in the launch trailer, right? They had flaming helmets and it looked really awesome. And these are the as high tier troops, the Chaos Dwarf. The Infernal Guard can wield a variety of weapons in battle, including great weapons, an axe and shield combo, and fearsome fire glaive. So I would expect that to be AP, and then we have just a standard axe and shield, and then AP anti-large, perhaps, for fire glaive. Both relentless and cruel, these warriors will stop at nothing in their hunt for redemption. And I'm very curious to see what regiments of renown are going to look like for the Chaos Dwarfs. I believe we get full regiments of renown with a campaign pack. Now, unless they've changed that, like they've changed the number of lords, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a lot of cool different varieties on, say the Infernal Guard, or even just generic Chaos Warriors. Maybe there's Chaos Warriors with fire glaives as a regiment of renown. Who knows? But curious to see what that kind of looks like too. I want to see the other dwarf warrior too, the third one in the list, to kind of get an idea for what the progression looks like for them. And also, because I mean, Chaos Dwarf warriors are already tier 2. So I think these guys are going to be tier 3 with maybe another tier 3 with the Immortals. But again, I'm just really curious to see what kind of role that they're going to fill. Also, I really want to see how these guys go toe-to-toe with their dwarf cousins. I've said many times that the dwarfs need a lot of improvements, and especially when you compare the two on a one-to-one basis. I know that the Chaos Dwarf Warriors are slightly more expensive than Dwarf Warriors, and that justifies being overall better, I suppose. But either way, it'd be very interesting to see how these guys kind of stack up to their non-corrupted cousins on just even an army-to-army basis. I feel like the dwarfs are just going to get completely tanked by the Chaos Dwarfs, because they're going to field everything the dwarfs can, plus better stuff, in a one-on-one match. And a grudge match, as it were. So Kadai Fireborn and Destroyers now. Now we know a little bit about Kadai here, and we'll be going into this in our unit roster video that I'm putting up later this week. But basically Kadai are chaos demons enslaved to, as this puts it, were enslaved and bound in iron war armor as opposed to non-war armor. They are the scions of fire, and they serve the demon smiths of the Chaos Dwarfs. So pretty interesting about these guys. As monstrous infantry, the Kadai Fireborn launch flaming attacks upon their prey, using their blazing bodies to increase their own physical resistance while reflecting damage back at the enemies. Their intensity grows stronger the longer they spend in melee, but use them wisely, for the brightest flames often burn out the fastest. Once shattered, the runes that maintain their unbreakable attribute are rendered inert, leaving them susceptible to demonic instability. So very, very fun to see how these guys are going to play out. Seem to be sort of more along the lines of the Sepulchral Stalkers, and less along the lines of just a straight up and up close and personal damage unit. But they clearly kind of hit that hybrid point of being high damage bursty cannons, glass cannons. So we'll see how that kind of plays itself out. Then we also have the Kadai Destroyer, the big baddie we saw at the very end of the Chaos Dwarf announced DLC video, or Chaos Dwarf DLC announced video. As the biggest and most expensive unit the Chaos Dwarfs could ever conjure, these monsters are a rare but terrifying sight. With anti-large and wall breaker capabilities, the Kadai Destroyer lets nothing stand in its way. Its size allows it to charge across the battlefield, sending units flying as it shreds those who stray too close. So very cool to get just a little bit of info about him. I hope he does have some more abilities attached to him. Perhaps a Mortis Engine effect, some sort of high fire resistance. I don't know, just something that the Kadai Destroyer feels like more than just simply an anti-large and wall breaker, which I would assume that's the case, but just to say it otherwise. Now our last little bit of info here is on Ulrika Megdova, who will be joining the roster as the FLC character. You'll need to have access to CA access thing, whatever. Free CA account is required to claim her. And she's part of the update 3.0. She'll be usable by both Kislev and Empire. And it says right here that proficient in melee combat, deadly at range, and a spellcaster. So she'll probably use her bow here. Ulrika can fill any role on the battlefield, boasting the best traits from Kislev and the vampire count. So I wonder if she's just going to straight up have the lore of vampires, if she has a custom kit of vampire, shadow, and death, or how she's really going to kind of go about that. And I think it'll be a very interesting spread because it brings that lore. If it is a custom lore, if it's not just simply the lore of vampires, if she's got vampires and death, it brings that lore to Kislev and to the Empire, which is very fun. And straight up just having vampires too also brings that to Kislev and Empire, which is very fun. Although we do have a set Empire caster for that, but still nonetheless, having a hybrid Lord character here will be pretty cool. But that concludes our news. Next week, it looks like next week we'll be showcasing the final Legendary Lord, arriving with the Forge of the Chaos Dwarfs, Zatan the Black. So that will be accessible next week to take a look at here as we dive closer and closer to April 13th, the launch date of the Chaos Dwarf DLC. As mentioned, guys, if you have not yet picked up the DLC, you can use my link to the CA affiliate website to help support the channel. Also, too, don't forget to check me out on Twitch. But as always, my bros, thank you so much for watching here today. Go ahead and let me know in the comment section below how you're feeling about the DLC and how it's shaken up. What things do you want to learn about? What things are you excited about? What things are you not excited about? But as always, have a good one and take care.